Hello and welcome everyone. Here is your host Spandana and today I have with me Mr. Umesh Kr Bansal, Senior Vice President, Zee Entertainment Enterprises Limited. Welcome aboard, sir. Mr. Umesh
Hi,
Kr
Spandana.
Bansal is Senior Vice President at Zee Entertainment Enterprises Limited since October 2019 and also he has been associated with the group since November 2015 under different roles. He is known for his ability to lead organization transformation, business turnaround, and for his leadership in strategy design, business management, and so on. He has earlier been head of group strategy and CEO at Axis Bank, country business manager at ANZ before joining the Essel Group of Companies. Mr. Umesh Kr Bansal is an engineer and holds an MBA in international business from IIFT. He believes in spirituality and follows the Vipassana form of meditation, an unrelenting entrepreneur who has consistently set up new business lines and brands for the organization that he has worked for. I, on behalf of Brainfeed Group, take the pleasure to welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Spandana. It's my pleasure to be joining you today.
Thank you, sir. So without further delay, we will start our interaction with the first question. Can you please elaborate about mind wars?
Spandana, we started with Mind Wars in April 2019. We wanted to create a multi-platform program. The idea was to get on the ground and create a very large on-ground presence. Today, we are present across 30,000 plus schools across the country, making us one of the largest school outreach programs in the world. We also have a digital presence. There is a app on Z5 where children can go log on to Mind Wars, look at questions, keep playing. We also engage with students and teachers and schools on our social handles. And then we have also used the strength of Z by putting a TV quiz onto ZTV, basically trying to cater to audiences across the platform, trying to be there in every media and mode possible.
That's fabulous, sir. So in this digitalized, so children will feel something, find something out of it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
because the schools are closed, so it
Yeah.
makes more sense for us to have a very strong digital presence as well. From the
Yes.
inception itself, we were very sure that we are going to have a strong digital presence. Our digital presence, though, is a slightly different from what you would look at from most of the discussions that are happening online today. We are not an education platform. We are only supplementing the education and learning of children, and therefore providing them a way to test their knowledge and to practice and play. We are not here to replace or in any manner affect the school learning or educational learning of children. It's more of fun and fun-based learning experience rather than being education.
Yes. Thank you, sir. So what is the thought behind this initiative?
So when we created the program, we wanted to create something that will engage school students in a manner that is useful to their growth and development. So we wanted to bring in content which is going to help them in their performance in the schools as well as in competitive exams. So where we started from was we created a bank of more than 30,000 questions, along with another 10,000 trivia, facts, factoids, etc. Um, our content, therefore, straddles across GK, curriculum, current affairs. We want to create a compelling way in which we can keep students engaged in a very, very constructive manner. Um, Now, to make it more engaging and to make it gratifying, we believe that this program gives opportunity to each student to become a champion of their respective schools, of their respective states, and the quizzing is just a click away. Therefore, just taking the essence of a traditional offline quizzing, which would allow only a handful of students to participate. If the quizzing is between four teams of maybe two students each, then basically it's eight students playing or quizzing at any given point in time. Scaling that up, digitizing it, and massifying it so that any student from any language, any school, any part of the country can participate, compete with each other. So basically creating a democratized national platform for quizzing and learning for students.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. So how is this Olympiad is different than others?
See, Olympiads have been in play for many decades now. They are a very well accepted form of competition among school students. The schools accept Olympiads as one of the ways in which their students can compete or get recognition or display their knowledge. The certificates for Olympiads also have value in terms of being accepted in extracurricular or other activities uh, as the students grow and get into colleges or into competitive exams. However, if you see traditionally, all the Olympiads until now have been either focused on sciences or on maths. This is the first of its kind Olympiad, which is for general knowledge. What this does is that it also provides opportunity for students who are outside of the sciences streams to compete at the same platform and at the same level. The second thing is that we are doing this Olympiad completely online. In part, we have been forced to make it online because of the ongoing situation on ground. However, what this has done also is that we've structured this test in a manner that is very close to the competitive exams that the children are expected to undertake in the near future. So, A, it's completely online. B, there is a choice of dates that the children can pick from. C, there is also a chance for them to reappear for the tests. Therefore, being able to improve their scores if they believe that their performance in their initial attempts has been impacted or has not been up to mark. So there is a possibility for them to improve their score as well. If you see some of the most well-known exams such as a GRE or GMAT, etc., they also work in a very similar structure. So it just gives the school students a flavor of what they are going to be up against in the future, and basically helping them perform better in their careers.
Thank you, sir. So, how do you think COVID-19 has impacted school children?
So school children, I think there's been a very major impact on schools and school children. Schools have been closed since March, and even now we do not have full clarity on when we are going to open back.
Yeah.
Even the states that are looking at opening back are talking of only the senior classes getting opened. So we do not know when the junior classes will open, etc. What this has made, what this has done in turn is, it has considerably reduced the human interaction and limited the human interaction that the children used to get. This human interaction is expected to create subconscious learning, development, and all of that experience that comes with it is something that the children are going to miss during this period. We recently also started seeing some publications which are predicting that there will be loss of future income for the country on account of reduced learning for these kids. Maybe there will be a delay or lower income that these kids will generate in the future. I mean, only time will tell. But my strong belief is that nothing can replace assisted learnings by teachers. And the earlier we get back to the norm, the better it is for the kids.
Yes. Uh, what kind of changes do we expect to see in the education for children in the coming years?
Um, so, Spandana, if you see, what the pandemic has done is it has also made people open up to a lot of new possibilities. While there is a lot of discussion of education going digital, etc., I think it's more to do with the fact that people have started to accept some kind of change, and there has been an open-mindedness, either forced or reluctant or hopefully by themselves, where people are starting to at least look at new options, new opportunities, new career paths, etc. I think in that sense, it is only going to help children in terms of the opportunities that they might have. However, education right now, maybe I'm not the best person to answer this, but it's completely in a flux. There are um, too many competing forces at work today. It's really a dynamic situation right now. The environment is changing, but there are certain things that will always remain if you stick to the basics. where children will have to do the hard work themselves. The parents will have to support the learning. They will have to be assisted by tutors, teachers, etc. The guidance on and career counseling is a necessity. These are the things that will continue to thrive, continue to be essential for children. Otherwise, it's only the media and the mode in which people are interacting, or consuming news or consuming information, etc. That's going to change a bit, but I think the basics are going to remain.
Thank you, sir. So, how is fun and studies combined in this initiative?
I interestingly we read I read something that I quote often now since we've started this program. A quote that said that children learn as they play, and most importantly, in play, children learn how to learn. So I think what we've therefore done is, um, identifying with this code, we've converted learning to quizzes and puzzles. Um, and that becomes very experiential as well as experimental learning for kids. We've also made it slightly competitive, where they get a score, they are timed on their performance or their tests, they can share their scores with their peers, even improve their scores, etc. And then they can do this multiple times over and over. The idea is to make it fun and engaging, and any knowledge which is gained in an engaging manner would be retained much better by the budding minds. We also believe that this will develop a very positive behavioral response pattern in kids, because it's constructive. I mean, uh, compare it with any of the gaming apps. This game would be much more constructive for kids than most of the other time that they spend on the screens.
Thank you, sir. So, in what ways do you think, especially after 2020 pandemic, education sector should gear up so that to provide learning facilities to students without any breaks? So there was a lot of break happened
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So I think education sector is right now faced with a multitude of challenges. On one side, there is a break in the services that they were providing. B, the students that they are catering to, their performances are expected to get affected. C, the students are also trying to find more avenues, getting into newer forms of learning, etc. I'm hoping that, unlike the West, we will have very few dropouts on education in countries like India, because education here is valued much more than in formal education is valued, and qualification is valued much more than in some of the other geographies. Um, but more importantly, I think the education sector will have to find newer ways of keeping the kids engaged,
Yes.
keeping the parents engaged as well, because parents play a very big role in the decision making in these years, in this age group. Um, uh, and I think while they've been educating children, it's also time that start educating parents,
Of course.
and and telling them what are the best practices or best ways in which they can help develop and educate their kids. Yeah, I mean, beyond that, I think I don't envy the education sector today. I think they are being forced against competition, which could at times be seen as unfair as well. But yeah, that's the situation they're in.
Thank you, sir. So, how Olympiads enhance holistic development in a child?
So see, what the Olympiad does is that it creates a testing platform for whatever the children have learned in their schools or by themselves over the past 3 4 years. What we've done also is we've kept it simpler for students. We have a different Olympiad for every class or grade. So a fifth standard Olympiad is different from a sixth standard Olympiad, is different from a seventh standard, and so on. So what it does, it creates a very uniform and a kind of a fair platform for children to compete and showcase their knowledge. Um, it's basically Olympiad is a form of quizzing, because A, it's timed, B, there are multiple choices of question, and C, you got to give it without any assistant of books or any other support. So it's a form of quizzing. So again, with quizzing comes in ability to respond. With quizzing comes in something decision making. That's also what children have to go through. And of course, they have to apply their learning. A lot of children have to also do a lot of guesswork for questions that you do not know. You need to understand how to make a smart guess. Even those things come by practice. And therefore, for us, while the children we believe are doing the quizzing through the year, this becomes an annual kind of a festival where children come and test whatever they've practiced for or learned during the year. And hopefully, for us, the way we've structured it again is have cash prizes, have gratification, create a merit list at a national level. So the gratification that the children will get from participating in this Olympiad is fairly robust. We are going to create a list of a merit list of top 100 students in each class across the country. Apart from the prizes, this will be a coveted merit list, which children can showcase as being amongst the top 100 students in the country. So I think this will be very useful for them in terms of building their confidence, building their profiles, and basically making them stand up and be useful in their careers ahead.
Thank you, sir. So that was all for today. And it was really a very informative session. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with Brainfeed Group, sir.
Thank you, Spandana. Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure.
So that was all from Mr. Umesh Kr Bansal, and I'm sure you have got to know some interesting facts. And if you're keen to know more such interesting facts, please do subscribe to Brainfeed TV and Magazine. Please do comment and let us know if you want us to come up with anything specific. Signing off, yours host Spandana.